I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling.
This is the moment Brittney Griner learned her fate, standing in a cage in a Russian courtroom.
They say they found vapes and liquid cannabis or hash oil.
Over 300 games for Team USA and in the WNBA, emerging from the fire of the United States and Russian political turmoil. Brittney Griner has etched herself into greatness in her sport of basketball. Her shot-blocking heroics and incredible basketball IQ, along with her cannabis indiscretion, catapulted her to the front and center of the US, Ukraine, and Russia conflict. Today, we'll recount the controversial journey of future Basketball Hall of Famer, Brittney Griner. Brittney Griner was born in the massive metropolitan city of Houston, Texas, on October 18, 1990. Born to Sandra and Raymond Griner, Brittney grew up in a loving and supportive environment. From an early age, Brittney had an affinity for basketball. Even in her earliest childhood years, she towered over her peers. Basketball was the obvious choice. Unfortunately, her childhood classmates didn't see her height as an advantage, and she was bullied relentlessly for being a giant among children. In her memoir, Griner references a time when a girl patted her chest and proceeded to tell the class, "She's not really a girl." Throughout the turmoil and emotional challenges, Griner's family stood by her side and supported her dream of playing basketball professionally. They were committed to watching her play, attending every game, and celebrating both small and big wins. While high school saw impressive feats from Griner, college is where she made a name for herself. Griner attended Baylor University and led the women's basketball team to a myriad of achievements. In 2012, Baylor University went undefeated and won the national championship. Griner's role in this campaign cannot be understated. She was named Most Outstanding Player of the tournament.
In fact, her line was, and there's a dunk by Brittney Griner.
Tremendous high school talent.
Aside from dominating women's college basketball in 2012, Griner won the Naismith Women's Player of the Year award. She was also named to the first-team All-American squad to accompany her title as the Big 12 Conference Player of the Year in 3 of her 4 college seasons. It's safe to say Griner's college career was nothing short of amazing. Things get a bit more complicated though. Brittney Griner harbored her sexual feelings due to the Christian leanings of Baylor. Her coach privately condemned her for going on dates with females, and Griner began to question whether Baylor supported her as a person or merely as a source of revenue. Luckily, Griner's rise to stardom gave her a platform to reach the masses with her message. All these accolades sent Griner's draft stock through the roof. She was the first overall pick in 2013 for the Phoenix Mercury, and the Mercury have never made a better decision as a franchise.
What was it like to finally hear your name called here tonight?
Lost for words. It was like when I met Tony Hawk just a minute ago. I couldn't say anything.
In 2012, the Mercury went 7-27 to secure the first draft pick. Following Griner's acquisition, they improved their record to 19-15. And in just Griner's second WNBA season, she led the Mercury to a historic season. They went 29-5, accumulating the most wins in a single season in WNBA history. But it didn't stop there. They went on to sweep the Chicago Sky to win the championship. Griner's dominance can be explained by her unreal size. She stands at 6 feet 9 inches tall and has a wingspan of 87.5 inches. She wears a men's size 17 sneaker. With her size and skill combined, it's no wonder she was unstoppable in the eyes of her opponents. Griner was famous for dunking in a league where dunking was an absolute phenomenon, and her defensive prowess was unheard of. She accumulated triple-doubles at an insane rate during her prime years. To name a few, Griner holds the record for most blocks in a WNBA season at 129 in her iconic 2014 season. She also holds the record for most block shots in a game, and was the quickest player to reach the 500 block benchmark. Her defensive propensity led to 3 selections as WNBA Defensive Player of the Year in 2014, 2015, and most recently in 2019.
There's really no one that can match her right now.
We could sit here and list her athletic accomplishments all day, but it's what Griner has done off the court that has really separated her from other WNBA all-time greats. Through her illustrious career, Griner has gained a powerful platform to enact social change. She has advocated relentlessly for the LGBTQ+ community. In an absolute shock to the sports world, Griner spoke openly about her sexuality at the WNBA draft following her selection as the #1 pick in 2013. When asked about the difference between being gay in men's sports versus women's sports, Griner responded with, "I really couldn't give an answer on why that's so different. Being one that's out, it's just being who you are. Again, like I said, just be who you are. Don't worry about what other people are going to say, because they're always going to say something. But if you're just true to yourself, let that shine through. Don't hide who you really are." Simply put, Griner showed that you just need a bit of courage to embrace the truest version of yourself. Unfortunately, things got messy shortly after her triumphant moment. Even amongst a bout of domestic violence and infidelity, Griner married her fellow WNBA comrade, Glory Johnson, in 2015. Whatever happened to avoiding workplace romance? As you could have guessed, things did not end well for the young couple. Just mere weeks after getting married, Glory Johnson discovered she was pregnant from previous IVF treatment that the couple had gone through. They announced pregnancy in June, and a day later, Griner filed for an annulment, citing infidelity from Johnson. The annulment got shot down, and the couple went through the divorce process in 2016. In a turn of events, Johnson was actually pregnant with twins, leaving her to carry the financial burden and stress of 2 children all by herself. Not Griner's finest moment. However, they have since repaired their friendship and share custody of their children. Fast forward to 2019. Brittney Griner married Sherelle Watson, a friend she had met back at her time in Baylor. In the 2020 and 2021 WNBA seasons, Griner protested racial injustice and police brutality by staying in the locker room during pre-game national anthems. Griner's marriage to her wife Sherelle, an outstanding WNBA career, was going well until Griner was detained in Russia in 2022 for allegedly possessing marijuana. Many WNBA players make the bulk of their money playing in the EuroLeague, which happens to fall during the off-season of the WNBA. Griner is a part of this majority, and at the time of her arrest, she played for UMMC Ekaterinburg, a Russian basketball club. Upon her arrival to Russia in early 2022 for an upcoming club game, Griner was arrested at the airport for having vape cartridges with cannabis in them. In other words, highly illegal drugs in Russia. What ensued was complete madness. A week after Griner's detainment, the war between Ukraine and Russia broke out, complicating diplomatic relations between the US and Russia. The result? Griner was condemned to 10 months in notoriously harsh Russian penal colonies to serve her 9-year sentence. She was at the lowest point of her life and feared she would be left and forgotten to suffer in the cold of Siberia. Lucky for Griner, the US government was pulling strings behind the scenes amidst her detainment and trial. Come December, Griner was released in an extremely controversial prisoner exchange that returned an infamous arms dealer to Russia in the middle of a full-scale war. There were mixed reactions from political figures and the public. Some praised the Biden administration for securing her freedom.
I'm glad to be able to say that Brittney's in good spirits.
Others, including former President Trump, criticized the deal, arguing that the US gave up too much by releasing a convicted arms dealer for a WNBA player.
But we're supposed to get her out for a absolute Killer.
Critics said other Americans should have been prioritized and slammed the fact that Griner refused to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner at WNBA games. While she still believes in advocating for social justice causes, Griner has since decided to express her patriotism by standing for the flag and anthem.
You know, I was literally in a cage and could not stand the way I wanted to. I appreciate everything a little bit more. Just appreciating everything because, you know, tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Playing for the national team remains one of her greatest joys, and she hopes to help lead the U.S. to gold in the 2024 Olympics. Was Griner's detainment unjust, or should she have known better? Was the government wise for prioritizing a public figure's release, or should they have advocated for former service members instead? Let us know what you think in the comments. With her family, wife, and teammates' endless support, Brittney Griner signed a contract extension with the Phoenix Mercury upon her return from Russian cruelty. The 2023 season was rough for the Mercury, but Griner looked as good as ever, with new life breathed into her efforts. In February 2024, Baylor University retired Brittney Griner's jersey and has released a behind-the-scenes documentary of her Baylor career. Griner has expanded her advocacy from LGBTQ+ rights to advocating for detained Americans abroad as well. She is a champion of the people. Griner has shown young basketball players that the sky is the limit, even if they don't necessarily fit in or have the right build. Her gracious return to WNBA stardom has reiterated that political differences are only surface traits of our overall selves. With that, you have all the information needed to form your own judgment. What is Griner's legacy? Is it rooted in positivity and empowerment? Or has she jaded her impact with unwise decisions? Whatever you decide, one thing is sure. Griner is one of the greatest WNBA players ever to bless the court. Let us know what you think down below in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more videos on controversial sports figures.